Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. In this video, we are going to look at how we can create multiple plots on the same axis using MATLAB. By default, when we are using the plot command, only one figure window can be opened up at one time. Even though you have two plot commands in your code, MATLAB will override the first plot every time you request a new plot. So you need additional commands to prevent this from happen. To do that, you can enter or type command figure. This command will allow multiple figure windows to be opened up at the same time. Here's the example on how we can use figure to open multiple figure windows. First, let's look at how MATLAB overrides the first plot if we have these two plot commands in our code. So when I run this, what happens is MATLAB will only display the latest plot, which is this plot Z. If I want to open up these two figures separately, I have to use figure command above the plot command. Okay, so you type figure, open input argument. Here we put number 1 to indicate that figure 1 is for this plot of t and distance. And then right before the plot command, I type figure number 2 so that MATLAB will plot the second figure on figure number 2. So we can run this code and we will get these two separate figures for both of our plots. Next, what if we want to create multiple plot lines on the same figure? You can use either one of these two methods. The first one is by using the hold on command. So hold on will tell MATLAB to keep plotting on the same figure, and you can turn off the hold on setting by typing the hold off. But remember, you only need to specify this option once for each figure. For example, this is an example of using hold off command. So let's say first we define the variable x. It is from 0 until 2 pi with an increment of pi over 100. And then we want to create variable y1, which is of cosine 4 multiplied with x. And then you instruct MATLAB to plot using the plot command between x and y1. When you run this, you will get this plot of cos 4x. Next, we will use hold on. So hold on will freeze the plot, and then we define our next variable y2 consists of sine x, and then ask MATLAB to plot second time with this command x and y2. So we can run this code and then we'll get two different lines. The first one is drawn in blue, the second one is drawn in red on this same figure. To unfreeze the plot, you can use the whole of command. Okay, so you delete the on and then replace it with off, and then we run it again. So you only get this second plot because MATLAB already override the first plot here. The second method that you can use to create multiple lines on the same figure is by using the multiple arguments, the multiple input on plot command. To do that, okay, first let's use the same example previously. Okay, so we have x, y1 and y2 here. Next, I'm going to use command plot. Okay, so here's from the guide. Okay, we can see that we are going to use this third guide. Okay, xy, y1, xn, yn. But to do this, you have entered the set of ordered pairs accordingly. Okay, so if you have the first line is x and y1, and then the second line is between x and y2. Okay, you must remember to enter the variable according to their pairs. Okay, in order lah. So we can run this code and then we'll get the same figure that consists two different lines. There is another way to create multiple input, multiple lines on the same figure. Okay, so you can either use the whole on or by using the plot command with alternating sets of ordered pairs of input arguments. And number 3, you can also group the y values into a matrix and then just use the plot command with this single matrix. Okay, let's see the example here. Okay, so we are going to try out the method where we group the y values into a matrix. Okay, so first we define the variable x. X is from 0 with an increment of pi divided by 100, and the final value is 2 pi. Y1 is cos x minus 2. Y2 is cos x minus 3. Y3 is cos x minus 4. And y4 is cos x minus multiply with 5. Okay, so first figure, okay, I use the figure numbering method to open two different figures. So in this first figure, I'm going to try the multiple input method. Okay, so enter it according to their ordered set of pairs. So xy1, xy2, xy3, and the final set is x and y4. Close the input arguments. Next, we are going to group the y values into a z matrix. Okay, so this is how we create a matrix. Use the square bracket, and then y1 semicolon, y2 semicolon, y3 semicolon, y4 close the bracket. Figure number 2 is for us to plot between X and Z. And then we can run this section, so we will get these 4 different lines on a same figure. Okay, Z is defined as a matrix, so that's why we use this semicolon. Okay, so the first row will have the elements from Y1. Okay, semicolon is for us to create a new row. The new row is for Y2, and then new row for Y3, and then a new row for Y4. Okay, so please remember, do not forget that to use plot command, the size of your matrix or array should match. Okay, so if X here, X the size is 1 by 201. So if you open the variable, okay, it will give you this range of value of the elements. So it have 201 elements, and Z also have 201 elements. Okay, so we can do or create a plot between X and Z. Next, let's look at how we can create multiple plots in a figure. So we have seen how we can create a simple 2D plot, and then how we can create multiple figure, and also how we can create multiple lines on the same figure window. Okay, so now let's look at how we can create multiple plots in one figure. The subplot command will allow you to subdivide the graphing window into a grid of m rows and n columns. Okay, so we will use this command subplot, open the round bracket. The first input is where we specify how many number of rows that we want to divide the graphing window, and the next input is how many number of columns that we want to divide the graphing window. P here is the location of the graph that we want to plot. For P location number, it is refer as in this here. Okay, so the first location is at the top, first row on the left side. The second location is beside the number 1, and then it will, for example here, we first specify that we want to divide our figure window into 2 rows and 2 columns. So the numbering start from the top left hand side, and then continue number 2 beside the number 1, and then it will repeat on the next row. Okay, the numbering will continue on the next row from left to right. So the numbering start row by row. Okay, it start on the first row and then from left to right, and then it continue on the next row from left to right. So this is an example where we do subplot 2 rows and 2 columns, and each. Okay, so the first 2 fields will be the same value, but the location of each plotting that we create will be different. Okay, this is an example where we create subplot. Okay, but before, as usual, you have to define the variable first before you call the command plot. Okay, so variable that involved here is x. and then instruct MATLAB to divide the window into 2 rows and 1 column, and this is the first plot. Okay, the first plot, call plot command and then call the input a variable x, and for y variable it will be sin x. So you can insert the sin x as the input inside the plot command. Okay, next. Okay, you have to repeat it according to how many subplot that you want to create. So if you create 4 subplot here, okay, for graphing window, so you have to repeat the subplot command 4 times. Okay, so if you divide only 2, so you just have to repeat the subplot command twice. So 2 1, and it is for plot number 2. Plot number 2 is between x and sin 2x, and then we get the figure. Okay, so the top figure is for the first plot, the second figure is for the second plot. Okay, that's all.